Mr. Amresh Khar. Mr. Amresh Khar is the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing India at RODIM, where he is leading expansion strategy, sales initiative, finance, and warranty while strengthening the company's presence in domestic and international automotive markets. With over 23 years of experience in the automotive and sales industry, he has led leadership roles at Mahindra First, Choice Wheels, Volkswagen Group Sales, Castrol India, and Honda Cars, and has also founded Mad About Wheels. An alumnus of IIM Bangalore, UBI Belgium MBA, and an engineering graduate, he has built one of the India's fastest expanding automotive installation teams and remains deeply involved in mentoring students. I would like to request Mr. Amresh on stage and invite Senior Coordinator Varsha to felicitate with the bouquet of flowers. Now, Mr. Nishant Kothar. Mr. Nishant is a seasoned marketing and brand leader with over 20 years of experience in driving brand strategy, digital innovation, retail expansion, and market penetration. He has led and transformed brands like Ron, Imara, Mistaken, Single, and Cafe Coffee Day into market leaders by executing high-impact campaigns, managing large marketing budgets, and forging strategic partnerships. With academic exposure from IIM Calcutta, Wharton, and IIM Bombay, he specializes in brand architecture, storytelling, and marketing analytics. He is also passionate about creative expression through blogging, poetry, and guest lectures. I would like to request Mr. Nishant on stage and our senior coordinator Preeti to felicitate with the bouquet of flowers. Mr. K.K. Bhatchandani is an executive mentor, leadership coach, and business consultant with 33 years of global experience across pharma, life sciences, and technology sectors. A former Asian business head and global business development leader, he has led, built, and scaled businesses across 12 plus countries. As the CEO of Imperial Life Science, he coaches senior leaders on executive presence, strategic mindset, storytelling, and impactful communication. A seasoned speaker with over 1,000 stage appearances, including TEDx platform, he is dedicated to shaping future leaders and inspiring transformation through human-centered leadership. I would like to request Mr. K.K. Bhatchandani on stage and invite Senior Coordinator Gaurav to felicitate with the bouquet of flowers. Mr. Rajesh Pentakota. He is a senior product management leader with 15 plus years of experience at companies like Zynga, Flipkart, and Walmart. Currently founder of CodePuff AI, an innovative AI platform that has already powered the creation of over 6,000 websites. His mission is to empower the next million non-technical founders to easily launch and scale their online businesses without writing a single line of code. Passionate about leveraging AI to democratize entrepreneurship and simply digital transformation for everyone. I would like to request Mr. Rajesh on the stage and invite our senior coordinator Rajat to felicitate. I would request all again. Now, with great excitement, we hand over the stage to our esteemed moderator, Mr. Rajesh Pentakota, to officially commence this enlightening session.
Hey folks, how are you doing? Had your breakfast? How's the juice?
Hi, sir.
How's the Josh? Very good. So, firstly, I think it was a great introduction. Thank you to the lovely lady for introducing all of us in such an elegant way. A small twist in the tale, right? So, we have looked at a topic, all of us panel members, and what we have decided is we'll slightly switch gears to AI, right? Which seems to be the most hottest topic right now. And I want all of you guys to walk away with a lot of learnings. We got some of the best guys in India and global right now in front of us, spanning across multiple industries. So we'll focus mostly on AI side of the conversations, and the hope is we will push you to learn something very new today. Okay? And I have been pretty active on the student community. Three of, I think, couple of interns from your college, like Akhil, Jumiali, Bhanumati, and then I think Jishnu, Sai Rakshit, Kevin. All of these guys have been phenomenal. They've interned with a couple of us. But again, what I see is a lot of lack in terms of industry and academics connect, and we want to probably bridge the gap in a very slight way today. Okay. All right. With that, let me set the context and stage, and then we'll hear from all the panel members. Okay. So what's happened in 2022? Any guesses? What was the phenomenal change that happened in the world? ChatGPT. Great. How many of you guys use ChatGPT? Oh wow. I think your assignments were far better and your grades are attributable to ChatGPT. Your professors are not here, I hope so, so you can be frank. Alright, great. How many of you use Gamma for presentations? Great. I see lesser amount of hands. Okay. How many of you try Nano Banana? Oh, brilliant. Good show of hands. How many of you tried LangChain for building your AI agents? Not many. Great. Okay, that's good. So that's where we enter this topic, right? So there's a lot of shift in terms of how you use ChatGPT as a prompting guide to prompt, get back responses. And this fundamental revolution that happened in the last couple of years. One, the models have become much stronger, cost efficient, token efficient, accessible to millions of people. And what has that led to, right? Startups nowadays are earning hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue within months. What used to take a decade for a lot of startups, the entire time has crunched drastically. Let me pose one more question. So, if you are given a fancy package of 50 lakh INR versus a 20% probability of creating a company with 100 crores revenue, what would you pick? Would you build a company? How many show of hands for joining the job with 50 lakh per annum package? Very good. Almost everyone. How many of you would build a company which makes you wealth of 100 crores? Great. You want best of both the worlds. Fantastic. Okay, great. So, so that's exactly what's happening, right? And then I'll give you some basic concepts, mental models for you to think through while we go through the conversation, so that some of these things fall in place for you. One concept is definitely about tooling versus agent, right? What is a tooling? Tooling is similar to what you guys are doing today. You write a prompt in ChatGPT, it gives you a response, you copy paste into any of your assignments, applications, and you're done. What is an AI agent? AI agent is where you give a lot of hyperpowers, superpowers to this model, right? Effectively, you are training the model, you're training the machine, and saying, look, you've got the decision-making power, you've got the reasoning abilities, and you also have ability to take actions on my behalf, right? And that's when it becomes super powerful. So one fundamental concept for you guys to remember throughout this conversation is tooling versus agents, right? And how does it impact it? The second concept is about AI infrastructure as well as AI applications. Now, what does infrastructure mean? How many of you heard about NVIDIA? Brilliant, fantastic. So you guys know infrastructure. These are the GPUs that power your entire applications, and these are fundamental unit of tokens for running your large language models, right? And AI applications are more like your Gamma, your Nano Banana, where you directly interact and get something out of it, right? And this is the second concept, right? AI infrastructure versus AI applications. Keep it in the back of your mind when you go through the panel discussion. The third is feedback loops, right? The AI models, the kind of way we build modes is changing quite a lot. One strong mode is it about UX, is it about data, is it about distribution? And these models get better and better with human feedback, right? Effectively, you're training a child to grow up and become an MBA graduate from IIM VISAKH, right? So that's how you are to put. So feedback loops are very, very powerful in AI engines. So keep that in back of your mind. Okay, with that context, we'll do I'll post a question maybe, and then we'll go through quick round, right? So maybe Vivek, I'll start with you because you're sitting next to me. You have been a veteran in terms of EdTech, MarTech, streaming platforms with Jio Hotstar right now. What is the fundamental shift you are seeing in your industry, in your vertical? How is AI impacting your vertical? What are the use cases that you are seeing that are popping up? And what do you think, which roles will get affected very heavily with this kind of evolution?
3 seconds. Yeah. Hi. Good morning. Great to be here. I couldn't help but insist saying this lovely campus. It just takes, I think, I'm sure all of us in a bit of a nostalgia for those who have had the luxury of such campuses. Coming to your question, so I've been in AdTech. Well, all my points of views are very personal. Don't ever cook. Yeah, okay, so don't ever quote me anywhere. Any of you watch IPL on Zoom? Thank you for your generous contribution to my salary. That's where it starts. So how has our ecosystem changed, right? We might call it a very cynical view, but fundamentally not much, right? But where has it changed? There are two areas where I think most impact is what I have seen. One is in the space of content generation, right? So if we could do 50, 100 things earlier manually, about 50-60% of that is very well heavy lifted. And I'm speaking as a digital or a growth marketer. And a lot of that is now creeping into content generation and content management pieces also. The second part where AI we see as a digital marketer being used insanely is platforms like Google's and Meta, which are what we call them as the walled gardens. So that AI is phenomenal, but it is pretty much inaccessible outside of that ecosystem, which is why platforms like or any ad tech platform has to build its own sort of unique mode. And that I think is where a huge gap exists, at least in Indian market. So that is being used externally insanely, very limited in Indian markets. Where I do see, yeah, correct. Thanks. And I think one place where majority of jobs will get impacted. So in a typical digital world, you have a very heavy operations piece where you run ad operation, and that's a very interesting piece, how you decide which ad to run in a break. As we were discussing last night, if you get 10-15 extra seconds, it's almost equivalent to 12 to 16 lakh of monetary value, right? So there's a huge amount of people dependence for live streaming. But that is one area where systems have improved in the last 6-8 years, and the earliest impact, if at all, would be there. Areas which require businesses to relinquish thinking, I think is something which, in my POV, is still very far off from getting into AI.
Thanks, Vivek. Hello, hello. Hey, Nishant, you have been phenomenal in terms of building youthful brands. Ron is actually one of my favorite brands. I have a lot of shirts from Ron as well. Would love to hear your point of view in terms of how AI is reshaping your verticals or domains.
Okay, hi everyone, good morning. So I'll start with something what Vivek said. How many of you watch IPL? So we use IPL as a platform to market our brand. But having said that, there's no AI there. So what has changed for us, Rajesh? I mean, as a traditional fashion business, but the entire crux of it has been taken over by fast changing society, where the decisions are no longer impulsive. It is also, where it is available, how easily it is available, and how quickly will the designs change. It starts from there, saying that, how designs are changing, what are the fashion trends. Just to give you a parlance, a fashion trend about 3-4 years ago would take a year from the runway at the New York Fashion Week or the Paris Fashion Week to come to India. Okay, now that has fast changed, that a fashion statement or a garment is coming within a week's time and it is available. And thanks to brands like Shein and the others, they are trying to make it faster. So what Zara stood for, which was a fast fashion space, is no longer relevant just to Zara. Most brands are operating in that. So one is that disruption, whether you want to call it with the assistance of AI or with technology, that has started. Design making has changed the entire generics. How it was used to happen was, if we would make a shirt, typically that shirt would be supplied across the country. Now, thanks to technology, thanks to AI, it is all powering, saying that what kind of shirts would sell in a market like Tamil Nadu, what shirts would sell in a market like Bangalore, and all of it will be powered by some analytics, some insights coming in from volumes of data which is earlier there. While initially we just had information, right? Now all thanks to all the AI technology and all the techniques that are available, we have been able to convert that into insights and decipher each point and each point of it into our business cases. And we're trying to do that. Just give you another, adding to another piece. Earlier, opening a store for that matter was just saying, okay, fine, in this city, this is one location, and we'll open a store. It's no longer curtailed there. Like example, I'll give you Vizag. I came here about 7 years ago to open a store. At that point of time, VIP Road was the store, best road, and I guess most of the brands were there. I came here, found a property, signed a property, opened a store. But today, we are not just restricting there. We are mapping into what the D2C world is saying, what is the heat map saying, and then saying, okay, fine, these are the brands, this is the vicinity, this is the catchment of residential areas, and then studying it and then saying, okay, fine, this is where it is. So that's another piece of it. Then comes what Vivek was just mentioning, the entire band of Google, Meta, everything survives and everything resides there. For a marketeer, it's the holy gospel saying, your life is revolving around Meta and Google, and one change there is changing, our, world at our end. So there's a lot of investment happening there. But earlier it was a spray and pay model. I would take a hoarding, I would take a newspaper print, and feel that okay, fine, it will have an impact on the footfall into my store, or it will get me some throughput into my website. It's no longer relevant. We are now spending in money. We know to the pinpoint what is the impression, what is the reach, and what is the ROI that I would decipher.
So double clicking on the same. So when you say impact on design, impact on the way I select the store models, impact on the way I market to people, reach out to people. Can you give some specific examples in terms of any tools that you are using, any models that you are using, so that we can build the context to the students?
Sure. So what we have done is for data analytics, I mean, we've been using to, decipher what is this data reading like, right? We were early in the preliminary stages, we were using Google Sheets, Excel sheets, but, those things comes to an end, whether it is with the loading, whether to analyze all of it. I think with all of this, things are changing. We have been using some customized module of AI-led tools to decipher what kind of data, and in fact, we have an entire BI team to throw up results saying, okay, fine, there's a projection, forward projection, backward projection, and in terms of what is not going to happen as well, and it is. Earlier it was like my right hand would not know what my left hand was doing, but the supply chain guys would not know what my sales guys were doing it, and marketing guys were always trying to be at a different end. I think that BI has helped decipher all of it and put a certain structure to the entire thing. So that's been one important aspect. Of course, there's a lot of use of ChatGPT happening at the marketing world, whether it is to the copywriting, whether it is to get some insights, analytic research, and all of it. Yes, and some of the tools that you mentioned, yes, are there, but rigorously it is some of the proprietary tools that we've created, and it is really helping us.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Hey, switching the gears now. So I think KK has been phenomenal in pharma, life sciences. These are the verticals where barriers to entry are huge, right? You've got huge compliance barriers, you've got huge guardrails. How do you operate KK? Like, what is the impact of AI? Is very innovative, the shiny armor that everyone is flaunting, right? How does it impact your verticals? Does it have any impact or no impact? Would love to hear your thoughts.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. I'm really glad that this is a discussion of AI, and because I focus on leadership. So just put the context. IIM runs the largest management schools, and therefore I decided I'm going to run leadership schools, because leadership is not management. Management is not leadership. Having said that, my focus, despite that, I was involved with AI for Pharma from 2001, and that's what we were chatting on our way here. At that time, it was not called AI. The reason I'm saying so is that all this has been happening for a long time, is that it has reached a level where it has become a commodity, so a normal user can use it. A person who's not from a tech background can just use it. That's the difference. Now, having said that, in 2001, the products which we were bringing to the market were called computer-assisted drug design. We were talking about design, right? So it is designing a molecule which is targeted to cure a disease or relieve a disease or give you pain relief, whatever that is. So it has existed for a long, long time. It's just that it was being used by 0.001% of the scientists who were working on it. Having said that, I wanted to ask you two questions. Is it the rise of artificial intelligence, or is it the fall of natural? The reason I'm asking you this question is because at your generation, I absolutely want you to be aware of this, cognizant of this, prepared for this. You know why? Because what's going to change now is a lot of things which we thought we will do, we're done by first the tools, then the agents, then a farm of agents, and then the person who's managing those farms. And this hierarchy is already set. You can see it in the market. Right? Large organizations are utilizing it. We just now heard two examples here. People who are managers and leaders in organizations like you have already started using it. And therefore, when he asked the question, how many of you are using agents? There were very few. So this hierarchy is set, it's just that the number of people who are using it. So my first question was, is it the rise of artificial intelligence or the fall of natural intelligence? And I want you to completely think about this. You know why? Because everybody will have access to the same tool. And therefore, you're no more informed than the other. That's done, dusted. You're no more informed than the other. You can only be smarter than the other. And are you focusing on that? And the reason I'm asking you is because I'm deeply connected to your generation. And let me clarify why I'm deeply connected is that you are helping me clear my debt. 33 years ago, I was sitting there. Somebody helped me. So I'm here. But I had a debt to pay. And that's what I'm trying to pay back to you. So keep helping me on that. And therefore, I would want participation. So I'm taking a little bit more. Because when I look in these eyes, sometimes the twinkle I see is very gratifying. And sometimes when I see that grin, I say, can I do something? And therefore, I ask that question. Now, let me prove it with an example, and that will lead to my second question. Let us say today you had a date, and you thought, oh my God, she has finally agreed for a date, or he has finally agreed for a date. But who's going to attend my class? And then say, okay, fine, who can do? Sibling is the first choice, right? So you ask your brother or your sister, whoever is your sibling, and say, I've got something very important. Of course, it is important, you know that. Dating is important? Yes. That's the energy. Dating is important? Yes. One last time. Dating is important? Yes. Okay, there's one person who says no, and I want to meet him on the side after the session. But, by the way, okay, a little digress. The reason dating is important is because that is the first relationship you learn to manage or drive if you can. If you can't drive this, how will you drive the organization? How will you drive your team? How will you make the impact these stalwarts are doing? And you are shy of accepting dating is important. Guys, something is wrong. Think about it. So coming back to, so let's say for example, your brother agrees, I'll go attend your class. I say, perfect. And you go for your date, you have a good date, blah, blah, blah. You come back, ask your brother, how was it? You know what? Although I'm your elder brother, I understood everything. But it did look kind of out of context. I think I'm out of sync. And then, but did your professor not tell you today was an assessment? I said, what? Yeah, so I gave you assessment, right? And then you said, but because you are now wondering, does my brother have the context? Does he have the training? Does he know what it means? Even if your brother was also an MBA from the same college, you're still worried. Are we trying to replicate this with ChatGPT? Using him as our brother, go attend my class. It's useless anyways. Right? And therefore, all of us are doing exactly this. It's just that because it's free and there's no attendance, I'm sending my brother to the school every day. What is it going to lead to? Tell me. Will it lead to learning? Are you as much sure that if you are going to get a 9.6 GPA, your brother can do that too? I guess not. I hope not. Right? And that's exactly how agents have come in. So we need to be aware that all of that is going to change. And it will change in the wrong direction if you do not bring in your brain, your attention, your participation, and, which is where I started, your natural intelligence. And I want you to focus on that, please. So what's going to change in pharma industry is a very highly regulated industry, by the way. And a lot of those manufacturing happen in this city. And for known reasons, I'll not get into that. But nowadays, there are sensors on your equipment. There are data centers which are capturing all of that at a time. And therefore, there is a signal sent to the maintenance manager that machine in next 3 cycles is going to give up. You better find a replacement equipment, push it in, take it out for maintenance, fix it, and then bring it back. What does it mean? Do you know, and I think you have already studied, the continuous manufacturing process? Pharma functions on that. If something breaks down, it basically breaks down everything because everything is connected. So that is changing. Another thing is like, for example, we have received a purchase order of this particular medicine. Let's say, for example, at the time of pandemic, we had a huge requirement of so many medicines. I'll not get technical here. Do you think at that time we could decide, okay, who will send the money, who will send the material, who will send the packaging, who will do the branding, and no, everything is taken over. There is a bot which is keeping a track of how much stock we have. There is a system which is keeping a track of how much we need to supply. There is one which is keeping a track of this disease may outbreak. And all of that has been done. So things are changing. Imagine all those jobs are not there anymore. Procurement planner, right? Procurement manager who is identifying who will sell. Now everything is lined up. So vendor A, vendor B, vendor C. If you have a routine requirement, just keep sending it to vendor A. We have good rates, they do well. Vendor B, if the requirement rises beyond this point, so on and so forth. So those are the things which are changing. And the reason I held back these examples was because for me, the most important commodity for the future of my country is right now sitting in front of me. But do you think so? That you are the most important ingredient for the success of this country? How many of you do? Raise of hands. Is it more than the number of users of ChatGPT? That's what I would want to believe, right? And with this very long answer of something which is very close to my heart, I would want to say that make use of 2 rule. But before you pick a sword and start swinging, you better learn how to swing. So with this, the rest I'll just hold on for the next.
Okay, yeah, we've got a lot of things to discuss today.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So by the way, I'm sure a couple of people who said no to the girlfriend question, probably they already have some AI girlfriends for all you know. All right, so with that we move on to Amrish. So Amrish is a veteran in the automobile space. Again, very different perspectives. He has been with Volkswagen, Mahindra, Ampere on the EV side. So we'd love to hear your thoughts, Amrish, because it's an entirely different vertical with a lot of physical goods movement. A lot of things have to click together, especially EV and other components. Would love to hear your thoughts on how AI is impacting your domains.
Hi everyone. So first of all, thank you so much for being a lovely audience over here. Probably, at least we have a two-way communication, right? This is what I always want. In automotive, it's still not there. Why? Because people are not swiping the bigger amount online, right? But when we look at the processes where it is going towards, it's about the demography in India is based on the user climatic demography and also the change the way people look at using that mobility, right? And now as I have changed my new role, it also helps me in terms of learning the new way of curve, which is about if our paint protection films are good for the market, then which segment, right? So anybody can tell us that what are the highest number of vehicles which sell in color, okay? Not by brand, color in India. Absolutely. It's almost more than 42% approximately, right? Is white, then goes the silver, then the colors. Reason? Anybody can come with a reason and multiple reasons, please. Heat. Somebody said heat. Go loud, please, go loud. Even if you don't have the mic, I think our vocal cords are much enough to talk and express. Cab market, okay? Resale value. I think that's where exactly I'm trying to come in, right? Now we look at the new car vehicle population. If it's growing by 100, the used market is growing by 3.5 times almost. So these all parameters, how they have been, earlier it was on Excel sheets, even not on Excel sheets, honestly, it was like, okay, my vehicles have gone from the dealership, it's done, right? That was it. There is a very important thing which I would say in automobile, wherein dealer from a dealer does not want to share data. And that's why we don't have the precedence of the data, how we have in the clothing apparel brand, or we know the Netflix of the world today, or the JioStar sitting over here, so Jio we have, right? So when we look at all this, we have to look at how we want to dig that data. So deep dive, right? So you guys have done ChatGPT. ChatGPT today can throw you certain informations which may be Google driven and certain things, and maybe, gives you some functional. But there are certain systems and tools which have replaced Excel sheets to the dealers, which are app based, wherein every day whatever they are feeding, at the back end it's the retrieval process, right? Wherein we are getting the data from. And this data, we know who is the right consumer, who has hit the right process. Love how my gentleman friend said from the wrong, that's the TG, right? We call it our target audience. Now our target audience is looking at something more. What is that? It's about the features. Are you not seeing that cars we are able to talk now? We say, hey Siri, hey Google, give me this location, blah blah, right? So certain things are getting adaptive. Once these things take over, the older history of looking at the data from the vehicle, I worked with Wipro during my time of innovation at Mahindra. I'm a RISE award winner from Anand Mahindra ji as well. So what happened is, like, from Wipro we could do a product which is called connected car solution. It's nothing but an ODC, very small, like a pen drive, which is put into the car. You can get the 100% feature-wise analytics of the vehicle, how it has been driven, service intervals. So data is everywhere. But that does not make you the choice that you can't meet your boyfriend or a girlfriend. You have to swipe right. Very simple nowadays, right? Now, in our automotive side of the world, EV is growing. CNG came in, CNG had a lot of reluctance, now again accepted. Prices come equivalent to fuel of petrol and diesel. When we look at all that, where is the adaptability gone? Are we 100% shifting to CNG? I think our first topic, which we had about somewhere, circularity, sustainability, scale, product to staff, I think this all is getting linked somewhere, right? So the topic of does not change your older topic. It's still the same. You have to look at, are you ready to pay? Are you waiting for sale from Mr. Wrong when you buy clothes, or you're buying it when they are at the fresh arrivals? I always say these questions to myself, my daughter, right? So every teaching has their own way to look at where is my choice. Now, if there is a sale on certain colors, you might land up buying that rather than buying the fresh. Which means they have changed and modulated your data based on knowing your earlier precedents of how you're behaving, buying behavior has been, you will change. Today, data is not fixed. This is my belief. You are not just my customer. You are customer for all those whose apps are on your phone. You are everybody's customer. Now, it's us as a brand custodian. Can I have you for a longer time, or will you just swipe me to the next? That's the journey. Today, we on breakfast, I think we were asking one question. On your second year staff, people will have a preference of putting this program on your CV. Just today's conversation. From that a thought. How you are going to express that thought is going to make that difference. Because programs are the same. KK said, really right. What is the difference we invested in one startup to I've invested already? It is about picking the right candidate for a company, or maybe getting them a job. It's not everyone comes from IIM. You're privileged, or somebody else is from IIT or maybe an A school. But there are schools which are far-flung and everyone has a hope. So we have to look at every aspect of an individual, and that's where the data comes. So if I say earlier, my time, Maruti Suzuki had a preference of hiring every semester a first class. Okay, now I had, so I was interviewed. But I left that company, honestly, I'm saying it on dais today, that was the clause. Because then there is no innovation. A student has to have all dynamics. You can't be just on one, living on the edge with one single tool. You have to have flair on the go, on the road market as well. You should go for your own shoppings like that before you actually know what data you are actually driving into. So AI is not going to take everybody's job, but AI is going to replace. Now how? My answer goes very simple. Recently we got one company who took 8 students from a college of GLA University through our platform. Now that has nothing to do with the brand I'm representing out here. But this is about what we all feel here is that the next future is you. Next future is my daughter who's 18 now. So we all look at them as the next civilized people who will have this consciousness also about maybe this climate change and other things. So when we hired, they had come for 5 students and they landed up taking 8. What was the difference? It was about the AI tool you talked about, where the code, they talk, they are understanding the emotion. I think you have certain tools over there also. So the world has moved to the next level. I did a training from B10X just for learning the tools. How does it matter? But I should know, because the person who is coming in front of me is talking so different a language. Rather than you, we have more challenge in being accepted. Right? We'll keep the session going. I think this is what I'm here for. Whatever questions will come based on these thoughts, please express. That will really make it entertaining. Thank you so much.
So, quick check. How many of you are interested in product management roles post MBA? Quick show of hands. Oh wow, good enough. So why I asked that question is both me and Gaurav come from product background. So I thought probably we will jam and go a bit deeper into product management and how AI is impacting those roles and how you have to be prepared, right? So maybe Gaurav, question for you, right? So you have been to SF. I've seen your LinkedIn. You've been to SF for 1 month. You met a lot of interesting folks over there. My fundamental belief is India is still catching up to the way. SF probably is the place to be in terms of they're leap years ahead, right? In terms of evolution. What were your key learnings from your San Francisco trip? And what do we have to keep on top of our mind so that we also, try to ace the AI space?
Yeah, very interesting question. I think the first distinction that I want to bring about is it's not an India versus US thing. It's a San Francisco versus the rest of the world thing. That place is just uniquely gifted. Every goddamn outdoor ad is an AI company. Every highway ad, every bus ad, inside the bus ads, inside the metro ads, everything is about AI. So that's the highest density of technical talent present in one place. The reason I'm talking about that is, when you have such a high talent density on a particular skill set, you are learning by osmosis and you're also continuously upping your own game. And if you cannot, you'll probably figure it out and not to demean anyone, but we'll probably start a podcast instead of building a company there. Right? That is the most important difference. It's the battleground. Everything is happening over there. Because of which, there are many, multiple orders of impact or multiple orders of changes that will happen. Every evening, there are at least 20 events on a weekday. There are at least 20 events happening in just one city, which is a really small city. Let me tell you, San Francisco, the city and the Bay Area are entirely different concepts. And the cities where the density is really, really high. The rest of Bay Area is still, India can beat the rest of Bay Area at least. Is my opinion. But yeah, there are so many events happening. In these events, people are not coming and talking about what product they have built, not trying to sell. But essentially, people are jamming on what is the latest thing that they found out while researching. There's a culture of openness, of sharing, of collaboratively learning about this new thing that suddenly come upon all of us, which is pretty interesting and which is also a factor of it being a very high talent density space. So because you have high talent density, it reflects into how you behave with high talent density people or high talent people. People not lay bare their IP over there, but they will trustfully talk about a lot of interesting things that they are doing. You surprised by the number of times in these sessions people shut down their own startups which are struggling and join the other persons, or they will. San Francisco Road, you cannot hire engineers in San Francisco because they are extremely expensive. Like $1 million is nothing in annual salaries. And then, of course, thanks to the NVIDIA run, you now have multi-million dollars salaries over there. So it's very difficult to hire people over there. So just by being open, you're able to attract talent, you're able to attract like minds. That is another thing that is very, very different over there. And lastly, I think, and probably the most important thing, is that no one's put a bar to their ambition. I was actually talking to Mr. KK a few minutes back, and I was telling him that when I quit my job in Feb, I was playing around with a few other ideas earlier, and I validated that idea. I spent a month in San Francisco talking to a bunch of people, validated that idea, only to realize it is not matching my ambition because a 17-year-old builder and a 19-year-old builder are actually having insane enthusiasm and ambition. Not that they are any differently gifted in any particular faculty than me. It's just that they haven't set the ceiling for themselves. And oftentimes we set our own ceiling, right? And it is a small factor also of how we have grown up. Most Indians have not grown up in abundance thinking, so we do not think abundantly and we think very restrictive and very boundary full. That is also another thing that you should unlock. You should think boundaryless. The worst that can happen in life is you will fail. And most of the time, if you're going for the stars, you'll land on the moon at least. So, some of my top learnings from that.
No, perfect. Sounds good, Gaurav. So, Gaurav is building Maximum, which is more into contextual engines and memory layers of AI. I am building, we are very close because both of us come from product management background. We had connected before on LinkedIn, but we only met each other physically yesterday night. So, and I'm building CodeClub AI, which is more into a vibe coding platform. You can build your own e-commerce store with simple prompts, right? The patterns I am observing in my industry is more about your foundational models, the frontier, so-called frontier models like GPT 5.1 now, Gemini 3 Pro. All these are good to an extent. They are broad generalists, right? if you want AI to write 30 files of code, it might not do a very good job, probably in terms of organizing those files and passing the context from one file to other. Where we are seeing value, where my company is built, is to ensure we take the accuracy of these LLMs from somewhere around 60% to 99%, right? We are trying to make it super, super reliable so that you can use this, use our particular engines for your use cases in a very reliable way, right? And that's where a lot of gaps are open, right? If you look at LLMs, I call them as fancy professors or scientists with peanut-sized brains, right? Peanut-sized brains because of the context window. You can't go beyond 128 gate opens. How do you structure your company all around this? How do you push the gains to high reliability, 90%, 95% systems is where the real game is. And that's where it opens up a lot of opportunities for people like you who are young, energetic, who wants to chase a wild problem, go for it, right? Lot of opportunities over there. With that, I'll switch the gears slightly. So I would like to quickly hear the thoughts from the panel, probably 1 to 2 minutes, because we will have half an hour more, and I've got one more topic to discuss. What do you guys think about AI agency, right? One of the topics that comes quite a lot, in, especially Bay Area and a couple of AI companies, is now you no longer need an army of 10,000, 50,000 people to run your company. Probably you can have an AI agency. There's a marketing AI agent, there's a sales AI agent, there's a product AI agent who can coordinate with each other and get things done. And again, I know this concept is pretty early. In Esther, probably they have gone a bit much deeper. But we'd love to hear the thoughts of the panel. Quick 1 to 2 minutes in terms of where you think this is heading. Do you believe in that concept? Do you not believe in this concept? What are your thoughts?
So, my take on this is companies in general are far more nuanced than what a lot of generic AI tools can pop up. So, if I were to break down two, if not three, key areas, one is the generic project management. Hey, this task assigned to you, where are you on that? You have project managers. Their value in current day and age is diminishing, right? Unless someone adds some contextual value. But there are seemingly non-intuitive steps that people and companies take, which have a lot of reason and context beyond these models. So this, unless companies feed in this context, and to that, my point of view is companies are still very wary of giving their core consumer information out in the market. So I think this is where it sits. Maybe 20-25% of flab and just people required to chase people is wearing away, but everything beyond that still, at least in Indian focused companies, I've been in about a good bunch of them and a mix of them who are leading ad tech, who are leading ed tech, and large organizations. I see that's like consistently missing.
Makes sense.
I'll keep it very simple. 2 points. Two areas where we are currently using tech, and and we have seen that AI taking over is how are we managing our customer. First 2-3 minutes of customer complaints or customer response are completely chatbot enabled, which gives certain leeway, and only then it is triggered and passed on to the respective agent to be managed.
So you're human in the loop to manage things.
Yes. And basis that by then the respective data would have been pulled out, whether it is the order ID, the details missing, and all of it, and the agent is ready with answers. So that's one. Second is programmatic buying. With the so much amount of ad spends happening across in the digital world, I think programmatic buying has really taken over what was initially getting planned, where we are deciphering, and identifying different media for that matter. Now programmatic has taken over and it is doing a lot of that work. While it is not, the credit doesn't go to us, but there are companies who are helping us do that. Giving you a very another example. I mean, we had used Hotstar as a platform where we would take ads during IPL and do it, but that was conscious decision saying, okay, fine, these are the cohorts or these where which are available, and this is how I will do it. Now all that has changed. That's what it is.
Yeah, I completely agree with Nishant. The only thing is that I think it's just not your industry, it is now across. So there's a company called Access.io for which I represent as their chief business officer. And we use all these tools because you want to reach out to people that this is the services we do. So without getting into detail, so what is happening now is with this programmatic approach, everything is getting influenced. And as a result, all those for which we require a lot of inside sales or pre-sales people, and because I spent a lot of time in sales, is going away. And I feel bad about that because at the end of the day, I would rather work with a human, but if they don't deliver, what are you going to do? And that brings back again to you that if humans don't deliver, what are you going to do? You replace it with something which is more dependable. It could be another person, I would prefer that, or a tool, a system, a bot, an agent, whatever that is. So what is going to happen now, I think, is that a lot of these middle management which used to happen is going away. And therefore you need to be aware that the more a system takes over management, the more you are required to be a leader. Sorry, going back to this because I see it very differently and I clearly know that you would have to develop that. Having said that, like in sales nowadays, and we all know Salesforce, right? How much deeper Salesforce has gone in influencing, reaching out. So there is a program which maintains that you send this email to 10,000 people, it only reach a few thousand. Of that, a few hundred will open. Of that, maybe 10 will come back to you. That's already happening now. And tell me if that is possible humanly. It's not. Also, the person who is receiving it is not receiving only from you. He or she is receiving from everybody. So just make sure that you are driving into the right message, with the right emotions behind that, and you have your ethics in place on reaching out to people. Because that's exactly where I think you hinted, but you didn't go far. Human in the loop. Was it Vivek or Nishant? You said that, keeping the human in the loop. My question to you is, are you that human, or you will let the bot do it? Thank you.
Awesome.
This is very tricky for us, right? You're not again, I would say. Tricky in a way that consumer like you today still expects a test drive. To me, it's only that the data is helping us reach out to people, or this whole process is helping us reach out to you in a faster way. I would say it like, I may look at not hiring a senior executive anymore, but I may hire an growth hacker. This is the human intervention is needed, wherein a person would still fix up some way or the other the interest, right? Diwali pe gaadi kharidna hai, sir. Because that's the emotion. There are two basic emotions for everyone, though it may not live later, but it's like having a good car and buying a new house, right? These are the two emotions which are still there, right? So if we look at our India, we still have huge population without any bank account. We have huge population still where we have infra readiness issues. We are still not there in EV process where our battery infra or charging infra and other things which we are talking about, it's still moving. So the whole scenario is going to change for sure. I think you guys are going to bring something very new, which for us would be to catch the bus and we will have to follow. So those all things will change. Maybe the job cycle will change.
Awesome. I think very important to understand if a leaner organization structure is feasible. Very important to understand that it has been done in the past, repeated in multiple cases in India as well. For example, Zomato started in 2011 roughly. In 2015, their tech and product team combined was less than 50 people. WhatsApp, when they sold to Meta for $19 billion, their entire company was 45 people. So you can have very high talent density and can have leaner teams. Now the question comes, can AI enable you to do very high talent density? Right? My personal take is that it will play a little bit on both ends of the spectrum. It will allow an average talent person to now have the ability to become a high talent person by using these tools well. Okay, that's A. B, agents themselves can do a lot of repetitive, boring stuff all by themselves, and there will be legit employees. There are at least like 500 AI employee companies right now. Some of them are my design partners or customers. And the vision is very beautiful. But I'll piggyback on this example. That AI sales rep who knows Diwali pe gaadi lena hai. You know what is that? That is a data point. How do you get that data point in? Okay, how do you know the relevance of that data point? The reasoning capabilities for judging that is already present. The data is just not present, or the data is just not provided or offered contextually to the agent. Why? Because, like you mentioned, peanut-sized brain. Right? That's the amount of context window you have. The best context window is like 2 million tokens. That is on Cloud Code. For most others, it is 1 million tokens. Within which, after 15% of context window consumption, you start having token rot. Agent needs a lot of system prompt, needs a lot of tool call definitions, and so on, which means you are eating into the context window very, very quickly. After 15%, there is rot, which means you're going to optimize for that context. Right? That will happen in two separate jumps. One is through context compaction, which is what our company and a bunch of other companies are working on. Literally, it's frontier tech right now. But the second wave will happen when chip design will fundamentally change the limitation from n million tokens to, let's say, 100 n million tokens. Right? Once that happens, the universe will significantly shift. But so will the need case, because cars still need a test drive. You still need a human to take you to the test drive. Can that be done by a robot? Well, right now, when we are all focusing on how to make use of this, this set of AI tools that we have at our disposal, all frontier tech companies are busy collecting data or preparing data for training for robotics. So all the scale AI, Mercor, etc., are right now not focused on. They're slightly focused on RLHF, maybe like 30%, but everything else they're trying to prepare data for pre-training, which means that world will come pretty soon, but it needs larger context windows, which is chip design works in 10-year cycles. Some of you might come from those backgrounds, so you would know. So is it possible? If you were running an ad agency earlier, or a performance marketing agency earlier, yes, it is already possible. You just need to put together the right workflow. If you are running a brand, it is not possible, but there are companies that are promising that they will make it possible, including Rajesh's company. And then, if you're building, let's say, in the physical world, then it will take significant amount of time. But don't take my word for it. The pace of innovation is so rapid, we all get surprised every day as to why it is changing and how it is changing so quickly. So the answer is for anyone to guess in the physical world.
Hello everyone. Let's have some energy. I think, it's very important that you guys have brought us to this place, and it's very important, as I said in the beginning, two-way communication is very important for me. Else it's like no sitting in this room for me. So everyone, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Shake it as fast as you can. So bye. Is it bye? It can be high, right? So take it back. Pat yourself. Pat yourself. No, I think many of you can't even take your hand at the back, man. You need a physical fitness in the classroom here, a session. I'm turning 50. I got up early morning.
You look 25.
3. I think sir got it around 2:30 early morning, and we picked up our flights and we reached here. I can be here on this dais with you, sitting among you till tomorrow morning, same day. I know the last day would have been very hectic. Just energize, because if you can't even take right now this much of pressure, how can you take the corporate pressure or even building your own infrastructure or in your own company tomorrow? You will have sleepless nights. I built in my company. I sold my stakes for good reasons, whatever. But the question is, you have to be active. At least, if not active by physical, active listener. And you seem to be both missing. Sorry.
Thanks for energizing the entire crowd. I think they're wide awake now. I can see everyone. They might as well go for a jog as well, all within the other room. But hey, so thanks for that. Yeah. So bringing back to AI agency, I think at CodePub AI as well we are seeing. So previously, right, I used to work at Zynga, Flipkart, Walmart as a product leader. The workflow used to be different. The workflow used to be, hey, I'll create a prototype. I have a hypothesis. I'll create a small prototype. I'll do market research. I'll go to the customers. Come back. This entire feedback loop used to take me around 1 month, 1.5 months, right? And then I go to my designer, they'll create a Figma mock-up. Then I go to my engineer, they'll create this entire development application. They first come back and ask me for priorities, right? Hey dude, what's your roadmap looking like, right? Can I prioritize this? And out of like 50 ideas I have, probably I could sneak in 2. And maybe if I have good relations with my engineer, probably 2 more, right? I know, like we were chatting yesterday night, Vivek and I, we had the same frustration. So Google Analytics tag add करना था, तुम्हारा product management को इतना time लगता है. It's a one line of code literally, right? That has fundamentally changed. The entire cycle that I told you, which took me 2 to 3 months, probably a lot of ideas not seeing the day of light, have fastened like crazy, right? Now I still do my market research. I still talk to my customers. But I don't take prototypes anymore. I take MVPs, right? I spin up Claude code. I use Cursor to create a quick prototype by myself. Put it in front of customers. Make them use it. For God's sake, make them use it. It's not really a prototype anymore. People can start interacting. You get live data into your backend. You can look at what they're doing, what they're building. And then you can use this feedback to improvise at a rapid pace, right? So this pace of evolution has been incredible, right? CodePub AI has seen probably 50 plus iterations in the last 6 months, and I'm grossly understating the amount of work that went in. All this is possible due to AI, right? Any new feature that we build is all built with AI agency in mind, right? Can I just put a single human in loop and probably run this entire engine with the help of an intern, right? A lot of people from your campus actually came and helped build some of these systems. We built a system where for hiring, right? One problem that we had was, say, whenever I float an application on LinkedIn or Internshala, I get 1,500, 2,000 of applications, right? I want to do justice to all the applications. I don't want to just skim through, keep a tag of IIM or IIT and then skim through them, right? I want to give equal importance to each and every applications. So what did we do? One of your interns, actually Juniali and Akhil, one of them, they have built an entire workflow on N8N using this entire sequence, right? People come, people upload their file. Once they upload their resume, it comes into our engine. It gets automatically uploaded to our Google Drive. The engine actually reads each and every segment of your PDF. Where are you from? Which school did you go to? What did you build? Did you build any prototypes? How good were they? Do you have any links to your prototypes? It goes and crosses those as well. And it comes with a comprehensive report to say, oh, these are the good, bad, ugly guys, right? And then we do some additional, I just have to review those top 20 or 30 applications that they recommends. So work has become so easy in terms of hiring that now I don't spend like 2 to 3 days on an entire going through the pipeline, but barely around 1 to 2 hours. Similarly, marketing, right? Marketing has been like, I was talking with a couple of guys yesterday. The entire SEO pipeline, we are now trying to automate, right? No longer I need to sit and manually add the tags, Google Analytics links, SEO labels, meta tags, all those elements. I just give a small context and my entire SEO pages, like 20 to 30 SEO pages, will get built where I'm talking to you guys, right? And probably in next 2 to 3 days, some of these pages will come up in the top searches in Google, for all you know, right? So this is AI agency, right? That's the direction where we are going. When we hit, why we hit, where we hit, nobody knows. Some of us believe this will be hyper accelerated in the next 1 year. Some of us think probably we have a lot of time to hit that space over a period of time. But I want all of you guys to remember that this is an evolution that is happening currently. And you need to stay on top of this, right? No longer, the person sitting next to you is no longer your competitor. The person using all these AI tools are like your competitors, right? So keep that in mind, keep that actively in your mind while you're thinking. With that, I'll slightly switch the gears. I think we've got 15 minutes more, probably we'll go around the panel. These are like bright young chaps, the future of India. What are the 3 takeaways that you want them to take from today? How should they build their career and probably how should they look at themselves? What are the skill sets they have to learn? Or are there any changes that you recommend in how they look at the future? Your quick 3 takeaways for them.
Sure. So, first one that I have seen consistently in the last maybe 10, 12 years across, whenever we go to campuses, there's a huge love for all the right reasons towards doing strategy roles, right? And I think we were discussing last evening also, right? I think a sheer belligerence to go through the grunt, especially the sooner you do, the earlier you pay the benefits, right? It seems fancier to do strategy, whereas value gets generated through operations, and then of course no limit on getting into strategy, but it's not a substitute, and I think that's consistently what I've seen. In the space of marketing, and particularly digital / growth marketing and ad tech that I've been in, the level of nuance has gone far deeper than just knowing concepts, right? So the level 2 is knowing tools and ability to tie it to business outcomes. Now this gap is especially in the digital world, I've consistently seen it's reducing, but it's also because of the rise of micro courses where people do it hands-on. So the hands-on comfort of, and I'm referring to folks who are good institutes out of colleges. Many of the reasons why my last maybe 4 or 5 companies don't hire directly from campus is because of the learning period. They don't have the patience to go through the learning period, the organizations. So if you can accelerate and short circuit that as a part of your learning and be able to demonstrate that, I think this would significantly up your ability at the table. Definitely will capture a lot of eyeballs from folks like at least me, who would then want to discuss further. Those are my 2 takeaways.
Awesome, perfect.
Before I just share the 2 takeaways, there's a conversation that I was having with my CEO. So she was mentioning, and I did about AI, and we were talking about it. And I said, if I tell you something that I've experienced this, and this is my gut feel, you are okay to debate that with me. But the moment the same result is being thrown up by an AI agent, using our learning, using our experience, you are okay to accept it. Where are we heading? I mean, that is for conversation purposes. But having said that, I also meet a lot of students. One of the most basic thing, I think, and which is something which is very, very understated, is communication. I think in once you come to the other side, and I'm sure I met some of the students, some of you are already experienced. I have some experience, but communication holds a very, very important role in terms of what are you doing and how are you letting the communication paths get passed on. That is something that needs to be built upon, whether it is written communication, whether it is oral. It is all about storytelling, particularly when it comes to marketing per se. Second, I kind of agree with Vivek. You need to stop taking yourself too seriously. Head back about 20, 21 years ago. I had also passed out of a, MBA college straight up as a management trainee. First day into my, office, I was wearing a tie and I went in and thinking, saying that, okay, fine, now I'm in marketing role, brand management and so on. Sounds very fancy. My boss, first thing she said was, take off your tie, roll up your sleeve, and there's a corner room, and she made me do some packing. I kept doing that packing for good 15 days, thinking, saying, what am I doing? I've earned a degree very recently. Have I made a mistake joining as a campus placement? Should I go for a lateral placement? But
So you got karate kick training?
Yeah. So it was kind of a thing, but it made me, after a point of time, after a couple of years, I realized that it is important to go through that process learning, and it is important unless and until you do it yourself, you're taking yourself too seriously. You should be okay to pick up things right, because that's when organization needs. I mean, whether it's a structured one or unstructured one, it is important that each employee, each individual who's hired as part of the team is supposed to pick up and deliver what's needed and what's the need are, and it could be anything for that matter. These are the two takeaways that I have.
Awesome. Thanks, Nishan.
Well, I think I have taken enough time on what I wanted to convey, but I'll still add 3 things for you. We know the pyramid is data, information, knowledge, wisdom. When I was growing up, data was sorted. Today, information is no more a challenge. Knowledge is already what is on your phone. What is left for you? Just wisdom. Just focus on that. That's first. Although what I wanted to say is already beautifully put by Nishant, communication, knowing people, storytelling is something which is important. That brings to the second point which I wanted to make is human skills, and that's what I said, are going to be far more important in the era of AI, because everybody sitting next to you will have access to it. The third, which is the most important one, and it also starts from what Nishant said, experience is what will give you what you need to learn about how it is done. Automation, enablement, board, agents, they all will be there. Technology is there to grow. The arrow has been shot. There's no going back. All that will go away. Therefore, pick as much experience as you can have of what does it take to do it. Focus on what emotions are going behind. That brings me, I have one last question for all of you. So it is a binary question, yes and no. So I'll ask you, emotions are good, and I want first people to raise their hands for yes. Emotions are good. Emotions are bad. So anger is good. Ego is good. Jealousy is good. Love? Everything is good. There's nothing bad. We have to understand that my first appointment letter came from Indian Air Force to be a fighter pilot. I packed my bag, I'm ready to go. My dad is ready to drop me. And my mom says, you're not going. Mom, this is my first academic success. I'm going. No. Because of love? So love is good, love is bad. Tell me. So talking about the anger, right? As you know, I'm very interested in having a partner. So at the age of 15, I had a girlfriend who stayed with me till the age of 20. And then she moved on because I was not doing anything except studying. To marry someone who was married, who was to marry someone who was making money, and that made me angry. Angry to the extent that I decided that I'm going to be far higher than that guy. And here I am. So anger is good, anger is bad. With this, I want you to know that it depends on how do you channelize them, how do you utilize them. Thankfully, so far, your computer doesn't have emotion. So the computer cannot become stronger than you are if you manage the emotions. Thank you so much. Love you.
For me, your biggest takeaway should be value your time. That's really changing so fast that if you're not with that pace, you will be missed. So you have to be visible. So for visibility, your second takeaway should be make yourself a brand so that everybody looks up to you and really finds worth in you anytime and always. Thank you so much.
The problem is when you say to these people, they cover most of the points already. Yeah, but I often find myself repeating a few things to my colleagues or my team members, which is what I'm going to iterate here as well. Number one, in the era of AI, your best friend is critical thinking, and it is the most understood term. So I would really urge you to spend good amount of time understanding what critical thinking is. Okay, it's both independent, it's both data-driven, and it does a lot more. It is very structured. It performs breakdown. Humans are terrible at solving complex problems. So the humans that you see are great at solving complex problems. Just do one thing really well. They get married to the problem, not to the solution. They don't go with intuition. They break down the problem until every problem is so small they can tackle it like this. And not just them, anyone else in their team can. You know what are they doing? They're essentially unlocking everyone else's potential by just performing one job where it's just problem breakdown. It's, by the way, also the best generalist skill and the most specialist generalist role that we have in the world is product management, where problem breakdown is literally like 3 interview rounds. Okay. If you can't do that, you can't do product management at all. So critical thinking, very important. The second thing is, a couple of people touched upon it, storytelling. I would urge you to spend good amount of time understanding what storytelling really even means. Because I struggled with it for a very long time. And I assumed it to be something until our good friend, AI came in. And I took a self and I started putting it to the use. There is a 3-part act, is what everyone will tell you. Every text, every prose will start teaching you that there is a 3-part act. But honestly, it's not about that. It's not about starting with a joke. It's not about telling dub karni nahi hai. You have to tell good, meaningful stories which are grounded in reality and sometimes not in reality as well. But don't let that come the part of a good story. But tell stories that people can connect with. And I would urge you to, observe the masters of observational comedy. Like, spend a lot of time observing why Jerry Seinfeld is cracking that joke or why Zakir Khan is cracking that joke. That will tell you 100 times more about storytelling than any other book will. And you should go to invest a lot of that time. Right? The third and last thing, and I'm going to sound like an absolute bad word, but your lives are on a very thin ice. Okay? Or your careers rather are very thin ice. You are entering the workforce in a business world in one of the most turbulent times since the Industrial Revolution. When scientific management did not even exist. Frederick Taylor had not even come. Okay. So you are now seeing that level of shift. You are basically getting challenged at every nook and corner, and whatever your seniors told or their seniors told or what we are talking about, it's all not going to land. You know what is purely going to land? It's going to be essentially crazy amount of hustle. You cannot stop working. You have to like just keep doing things. And if you just do that, and if you allow your brain to expand based on the number of things that you're getting exposed to, please do not tell yourself the lie that your brain cannot handle more. Your brain can handle infinite amount of context. It does context compaction really, really well. It will ship out all the non-essential stuff from your brain and bring in space for handling more important information. And I'm urging on this because I want you to break down all barriers. Don't say I'm a CA and I don't understand tech. Don't say I'm a psychology student and I don't understand tech. Everyone got to understand tech. You are living in a tech-first world. It's not going to change. It's one thing that is not going to change. Generalization with some specialties is going to be thing. So please, like, absolutely enter batshit crazy hustle mode. If you won't, someone who does will win 10 times over, and that will compound and you will not, and it will not be a great future for you. And I'm not saying this like an alarmist, it is the reality. The best B2B salesperson that I spoke to recently, the 23-year-old guy who dropped out of his BBA, lives in Chhattisgarh in Raipur, and is insanely smart about it. You know why he did that? You know, very associable story, girlfriend left. And he was like, oh, I'm going to prove myself. And he worked really, really hard. And he said, okay, I don't read about something, so he picked that up and he studied really, really well about it. I have 4 years leading sales teams and do B2B sales, and he still taught me 10 things in an hour-long call. That's the amount of hustle he had put in. And I'm talking especially about the hustle. This is not just one outlier example. This is the generation that is creating the world. You got to ask yourself if you want to be a part of that generation or you will be a part of something else. That's it from myself.
Thanks, Gaurav. That's a good one. And I think you have heard like wide range of point of views from all of us, right? Some like super pro AI, some not so pro AI. I mean, that's the beauty of having this panel together. I think from my side, the learnings, again, I think they have touched a lot of topics. Beyond those, just thinking what to tell you. If you are interested in product management, right? So in my career, I have probably hired 100 plus product managers across different roles. And then I have worked with a wide range of companies as well. The interviews that we used to conduct back then used to be about probably design thinking, problem solving, and a couple of other rounds, right? Before we finally finalize the candidates. That's no longer the case. Like I'm mentoring a lot of PMs who are attending interviews at Flipkart, Walmart, and other big companies right now. And the interviews are slowly shifting towards, hey, you're a product manager, you need to understand tech. What did you build? Which AI tool did you use? Do you know how to use Cloud Code? Do you know how to use Codex? Did you use Cursor before, right? I think the message for all you guys is, so I have been, like I'm a 2008 pass out from engineering and 2012 from IIM. Since last 15 years, I've never touched code in my life again. I never coded in my life, right? And since last 6 months, I've been only coding. All thanks to AI, right? So if a guy like me is going back to the drawing room, going back to coding, that's how simplified it is right now, right? If you understand basic concepts. My message to all of you guys is, welcome to the age of builders, welcome to the age of execution. Once you go back, probably your first year is very hectic. Even mine was back then, there didn't give us breathing space. Probably once you enter the chill mode, probably from December or January, go back, I mean, start building something, right? Start with by using vibe coding platforms like Lovable or Codepop AI. Just upload your resume, see how beautifully it spins up a portfolio page for you, right? That's a good starting point. Then you start exploring Cloud Code. Okay, what is Cloud Code all about? what is this Rajesh guy talking, yapping about coding, AI agents, AI engines? Explore it for yourself, right? And the space is so nascent that you can be the Newton in the space. You can literally invent some new things which no one will. Right? So I think my message for you guys is try to get as much hands-on as possible, explore quite a lot, be learners, right? Be eternal learners, learn, and learn. All right. With that, I think we'll conclude this particular session. Maybe we'll open up for Q&A. Thanks for the wonderful panel. Thanks for the beautiful audience. Thanks for the
And this time we need questions.
Good afternoon, everybody. My question is for Nishant, sir. Since you were talking about AI in the fashion industry, so whatever you spoke about, all of that was fair, but I want to understand, do you think there is any aspect of the fashion industry where AI will probably never be able to catch up or is still catching up but really slowly?
Yes, there is, which is storytelling. Just to give you a background to what Wrong is all about. Wrong is about perspective, and hence it's spelled as WROGN, and the two rights make a wrong makes the logo. You could create, and that's something that what we believe in. And I always tell this: Wrong is a marketing company than a product company, but it was built on marketing, and it is built on marketing largely because it is about perspective, and more so in fashion, what looks great. Like when I walked into, and unless I saw Rajesh, I thought I was like underdressed. But I was representing a fashion company, I thought it was okay, and that was my perspective to it. And then when I met Rajesh, I was like, okay, fine, I'm in the right space. Having said that, storytelling is very, very important because it's no longer, the consumers are no longer referring to just selling a shirt or a t-shirt. It's about selling that emotional connect, that aspirational, that impulse buy, that it will make you look $1,000,000, and that's what it is all about, particularly in fashion. Yes, some sort of storytelling can happen, but it will be mundane, it will be repetitive. But if you need to stand out, if you need to ensure that it is differentiated, it needs to come through, and that's what it is.
Thank you so much for the discussion, sir. My question to you is that you talked about vibe coding and NTN as well for creating workflows. So I want to understand that how can we leverage that in the journey ahead in the MNCs or in the startups that we will be working in ahead?
Hey, that's a fantastic question, man. What's your name?
Abhigyan, sir.
Abhigyan. Okay. Hey, Abhi. So a lot of companies, especially in the Indian ecosystem, are still evolving, right? In sense, they're still trying to get their hands dirty, thinking beyond ChatGPTs, right? A lot of senior execs from very big companies, even product companies, are aware that there's a tool called ChatGPT which I can use. I can chat with it, it will give some fancy answers. But since last 2-3 months, there has been a wide awakening call, right? Especially because a lot of these AI startups are minting money like crazy. Like for instance, Lovable is at $200 million ARR. It's a 1-year-old company, right? Cursor is at multi-$100 million and multi-billion-dollar valuation. Gamma, your presentation app maker, has already recently touched $100 million in terms of valuation. So it's turning a lot of heads, right? And what's going to happen in corporates, especially by the time you guys come out of colleges, there's going to be inherent demand, exceptional and high demand to say, how do you leverage AI workflows, right? Like N8N as a platform, for instance, is a no-code platform, right? It's slightly much more technical, much more deeper, but it will teach you a lot of basics in terms of how technology works. And the moment you create something, and when you walk into an interview, right? Instead of just talking about chatbots, how they're revolutionizing, what the structure of a chatbot looks like, how do I customize the chatbot for your own company needs. You can actually spin up anything, you can use CodePop AI as front end, you can go and show them live demo, right? I believe demos and execution gets you hired much, much faster than anything else. So that's what you're going to leverage. You're going to build all these demos. In your interviews, no longer talking, show a demo, walk them through a demo. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Okay.
I just want to add something to this. Like, you should be answering the question, what can you replace using AI? Right?
So the idea is that you understand the tools so well, and after you join whatever company you end up joining, every inconvenience should be automated. It could be a minor inconvenience, it could be a major inconvenience, should be automated. You should build a case for it. Like you mentioned, build the case, build the button tool, take it in front of them and say, this is the new world order. Let them pitch to you why it should not exist. Right? That's the high agency move. And that's how I want you all to start thinking about, where can I put this? You need to think about it.
Hello, hi, here. I am Diksha Agarwala. So my question is like, as per an article, Michael Burry has placed a bet against AI. He's predicting an AI bubble. So I wanted to know what is your view on that?
So I think there are a lot of analysis done on this, especially on the P/Y ratios back during e-commerce days versus P/Y ratios right now. I think there has been abnormal amount of investment, especially in the Silicon Valley, in terms of getting this next wave going on. I fundamentally don't think we are in a stage of bubble. We are still in a very, very early and nascent stage in terms of where we can reach from here, right? And that's fairly visible from how fast these companies have not just raised funds, but also generating revenue, right? At the end of the day, there is a lot of value generation in terms of revenue realization due to these new tools, which basically tells you that, because when is a bubble, right? Bubble is when lot of people bet on cyclical money without creating end value or incremental value to the end customer, right? In this case, I think it's the opposite space. Because of investments that happened 2 years or 1 year back, and the impact on revenue and customer value they are seeing, now there is a much stronger push into enterprise adoption, customer adoption, a lot of other leverages. So I think the investments are just going to increase. Probably we have not reached the bubble stage. I hope that answers your question. Anyone else wants to take?
So, you see, there are so many things which I think the transformation my generation has seen from radio to where we are today, I don't think it's possible. So having said that, I have seen a lot of things. The reason I am still in favor that no, it's not a bubble is because it looks like a bubble because it grew so fast. However, because the impact has reached people as individuals in multiple ways, it's here to stay. The other thing is that people have started, I've been doing AI from 2001, so for me it's not new. It's just that the actual impact of AI has materialized now. Why? You have cloud, you have farms of compute power, you have algorithm, you have LLM, which was the final piece, which actually took it to the next level. You have IoT, you have security, you have internet connectivity to the extent that you could be anywhere in the village and your phone works. Like people thought that, oh, GPay, ha ha ha, right? We are 3 times of the transactions happening on UPI anywhere in the world put together. So, see, and therefore I do not think it's a bust. No, because it did look like a balloon because it grew so fast. but there's a substance behind it.
See, today we are in a world where experimenting is very important and it will happen. It has to happen. Now, where we lack is where you can actually add more value by your projects, whether it's field of AI or data crunching or whatever we say, is like we are missing on research. Right? So research is very important. When we looked at us at an automotive, I know my seniors asking EY, XYZ, every company to come and do that digging for them. Today, I think that's shifting. A lot of shift has already happened, but still if we look at the value that they have created, that is the data they have been maintaining and which would have been by now programmed into certain systems and brought to a next level and a value. So if you can make something which can make a change shift by which you can give credibility to say that this data is only secured to that particular brand and vis-a-vis brands which you would be working for is where the acceptance to your product comes in. Let me tell you, I was really here in 5th of September, my uncle passed. Okay. Now, with due respect, what I was thinking is my dad asked me that there is some paperwork which we should have done. Very simple, right? Now there's a startup which has come up, which while I did my Google, I was checking with my friends, is called Afterlife. Now, will we go to that software or that company while we are in life is the question. So I did this and threw this problem to a bank, an insurance company, right? So I'm just trying. They came to me as a mentor. Please help us. How can we do this? Some people came. Amrish, सबसे पहले ना इसका नाम change करा दे, सुरक्षा बना दे, कुछ ऐसा नाम कर दे. So simple, right? That means they were blown with the idea, but they were hesitant in terms of how they can pitch it to the customer. So you have to bring value. For consumers are two for you. When you look at dividing a product, you have two customers. One, which is an internal customer. Second, which is an external customer. If you are able to make a product which can help both the sides, right? Not like Sholay ka coin only had on the both sides, it won't work now. It has to be completely something that is meaningful, useful, and repeatable. That's what the product will come. Thank you.
I just want to add on the bubble question. I think I was reading some analysis, so this is not my analysis. Okay. There are two parts of the AI economics right now that we are not deeply understanding, which as Rajesh mentioned, there is a circularity of income that is happening. That is what is a recipe for a bubble. That is happening in some parts. Okay, that part alone will not bring down the entire AI market. So please don't misread the nuanced aspect of AI bubble as the progress made by AI will be undone. That is not what is going to happen. But essentially, there will be some market correction in valuations of some public companies who deal in those specific AI enablement infrastructure pieces, right? The second part is, if you haven't already come across it, please spend 15 minutes today understanding Gartner Hype Cycle. It's called Gartner's Technology Hype Cycle. Please read it. It's a simple 5-step graph that explains every new technology has an immediate acceptance, and there is disillusionment about how good it is. Then people realize, oh, it's not doing the same job it promised. Then there is reasonable expectation, and then there is a plateau where really you get productivity. When we talk about bubbles, people often believe it is with respect to the technology itself. ऐसा नहीं कि AI में this disillusionment. In fact, AI is one technology that has jumped from the peak. Instead of getting into the trough of disillusionment, it jumped onto the plateau very quickly. It's a remarkable technology hype cycle curve that we are seeing. However, there are parts of I just don't want to name names, but there are parts of the infra economy that are circular, and if I am able to find, I will share that article also with some of you. You should read about it and understand what is it alluding to. it is not really what you are thinking about in the terms of AI being a bubble, but some AI-driven valuation hiding the bubble.
Hello, sir. So my question is like nowadays, like agentic AI discussion has been there. So like in integrated workflows, so like till nowadays the models, incentive models are like headcount based or effort based. So now they are transitioning to the outcome based. So what your take on like agentic AI, how it will impact on those?
I'll take this question. So I'll give you an example, right? So in my own organization, CodePub AI, so what we have built right now is when you upload your resume and ask it to create a portfolio site, it creates a beautiful website for you, right? Now, how do I enable, let's say, our local Kirana store guy to come onto my platform, probably talk something in Hindi or their local language, and it creates a fantastic professional website for me, right? Now, how am I going to make it useful for me? I need to have some integrations, right? Which means data should be stored in the backend, multiple people trying to log in together, those should be handled, payment should be handled with the help of Razorpay, Stripe, or supply chain should be handled, right? Let's say he's a Muri mixer guy sitting out of a Vishakhapatnam beach road, RK beach, right? He wants to make his Muri mixture viral in entire Vishakhapatnam. He wants to serve you guys here in Kabira. Now, can he make a small website for himself, connect to a supply chain vendor automatically? So these are all integrations, right? And then accept payments. Today it's a nightmare. If you have to do something like that, you need to hire an army of developers. Tech is not so accessible, right? And now in CodePub AI, what we're doing is to build this integration platform. I have two options. I can again go and hire an army of very good engineers. I have access to them, spend a lot of money, build it. Or I can use AI to do a lot of things for me while I act as human in the loop, right? And that's where we are heading. That's how we are thinking about AI agency. Whatever I build in my organization, can AI help me expedite this process with super intelligence, with convenience, at a very, very rapid pace, with minimum human in the loop, right? And that's where I think it is very important for you guys to understand, unless and until you use these tools day in and day out, how are you going to manage it? As managers, future managers, we're not going to manage people themselves, we're also going to manage AI agents. And for you to be at that stage, you need to be really at the top of your game. Yeah, hope that answers the question.
Yeah, sorry, we are, I think we are at about. So there is an article that I wrote specifically on the topic of usage-based versus outcome-based pricing. You'll find it on my LinkedIn, maybe. Please go through that. I think that will answer. It's a very nuanced answer. It's not like is the world going to fully transform into only usage-based pricing or only outcome-based pricing. It's very nuanced, and I'm just trying to explain some of those from my understanding point of view a few days back.
Hello. So my question is for Rajesh sir. So since you are building a niche coding agent that is focusing on e-commerce, and then there are generalized coding agents as well, sir. So I want to know how such companies can make the consumers choose you instead of the generalized ones, because there you can do a lot of things. Yeah, you can pay for 1 month subscription, create different kinds of website. So I want to know.
Hey, very good question. What's your name? Darshit. Okay. Hey, Darshit, fantastic question, man. So, look, I think this is where I think some of the things that Gaurav also is doing helps, right? We are moving away from prompt engineering to context, something called as context engineering, right? Now, what does that mean? Context engineering again, LLMs are peanut-sized brains. How do I pass the right context at right times to make it, to orchestrate the entire workflow and create perfect, reliable outcomes for my end customer? For your question, Cursor is a horizontal platform, right? You can build anything and everything for everyone. Now let's say our same example, our Muri mixture guys goes to Cursor, right? Now he can definitely create anything and everything, but there's a huge learning curve, right? He has to understand how to set up Cursor, what to prompt, what not to prompt, He has to take the Stripe or Razorpay documents, put them into there. He may have to connect some MCP servers. After doing all this, probably in the second month, he can build his e-commerce store, right? Whereas CodePop AI is much more user-friendly, it's for non-technical users. We have built a lot of scaffoldings, as we call, like all the templates are in place, which means the Moody Mixture guy can just come in and say, hey, I need a Moody Mixture store. They are going to ask him, oh, do you need payments? What do you need? Razorpay or Stripe? You need supply chain guy. Okay, I got Flipkart delivering your Moody Mixture, right? And then you need to send emails. You need to send WhatsApp messages. So here you go. I got a Twilio integration, right? Just checkbox, tick, 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 and you're done. In 30 minutes, is there. So that's a huge difference. Generic platforms, horizontal platforms can do a lot of things, but verticalized platforms can do specific things very, very reliably. Okay, we'll take one last question. Yeah, sure.
First of all, thank you so much for the insightful discussion. My questions to the entire panel, but specifically Mr. Poddar. So I wanted to understand, you talked a lot about, emphasized a lot on the importance of storytelling, especially in marketing. So, but today all the business decisions that we take are guided by data, attribution models, and ROAS and ROI matrix. So in that case, when you are making a correct marriage between data and storytelling for a campaign, how do you kind of strike the right balance?
That's where marketing comes in for that matter. I mean, there's no easy answer to this. I mean, that comes with years of experience and understanding in terms of how to read the data, what is the consumer expecting. Using certain tech platforms, using data to understand what the problem statement is, was the most important. Once you've understood the problem, and then try and address. I'll just give you a very simple example of a campaign that we rolled out. It's a 11-year-old brand for Wrong, and the tagline was break it in each fashion. The last 11 years, we've been calling out, telling the world, because we wanted fashion to be there, that the moment I say wrong, people would not understand. We decided, and obviously Virat was in and around the center of all of this. We realized that Virat was not fitting the brand Wrong, how it stood for, because 11 years ago, he was very aggressive. He was one of those guys having beard, having tattoos. 11 years down, everyone is having beard, everyone is having tattoo, everyone is ready to curse, right? So it became a norm for him. And the entire thing was, and during the discussion, it came out saying that, he has become Mr. Right? We launched a campaign for a kind of man. Okay, so that was the entire thesis, where the entire discussion came in saying that, okay, fine, he's become Mr. Right. He's traveling along with his wife, carrying the entire luggage. He's holding his wife's purse. There's nothing wrong about it. I mean, I think 11 years ago, if somebody was doing it, was considered saying, oh my God, what is he even doing? Right now, this is being accepted. Men are okay to do that. So he's become Mr. Right, and that's when we came up saying that this story needs a telling. We came up with a campaign called Wrong for the Right Kind of Man, and that's how the storytelling came into place. And it came in from the data point, it came in from that analysis, and that's how the entire storytelling shaped up.
I'll only take 30 seconds or maybe less. We all like to believe that we follow data, or we all like to believe that we work from here, but we don't. We work from here, and that's what he's saying, is that as long as you can focus what will reach here, you can always find data, you can always find a story which will go and penetrate that. So if you're going to be an expert like this gentleman here on marketing, always remember, people think they operate from here, but they actually operate from here.
Thank you to our esteemed panelists for sharing their enlightening perspective and valuable insights. We also extend our deepest gratitude to our moderator, Mr. Rajesh Penjakotta, for expertly steering the discussion and ensuring its success. As a token of appreciation, we are honored to present a special memento to our esteemed speakers. may I kindly request Senior Coordinator Preeti to come up to the stage and present. I would like to request Mr. Gaurav sir. I would like to request Senior Coordinator Preeti to come up to the stage. I would like Mr. Amresh Karthi. I would like to request Business Secretary Jay Desai to please come up to the stage. I'd like to request Mr. K.K. Bhaktandani to please step forward. I'd like to request Senior Coordinator Rajat on stage. I request Mr. Nishant Poddar to please step forward. I would like to request a Junior Coordinator Sahil to please come up to the stage. I request Mr. Vivek Shah please. I would like to request Junior Coordinator Kamakshi to please come to the stage. I would like to request Mr. Rajesh to please.
Hey guys, by the way, we are always on the lookout for good interns to join us. So feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. If you guys are very interested in product management roles or want to learn AI on the fly, hands-on experience, please feel free to. Yeah, thanks.
True founder, always be hiring. And plus one to that.
I would request the guest to join the cohort for a group photograph.
Everybody ready? All right. Everybody. 1, 2. Thank
There's a bag.
We would again like to extend our deepest gratitude to our esteemed panelists and speaker for your invaluable contribution to Vidhi 7.0. Your dedication to sharing knowledge has left a lasting impact, elevated the event's significance, and inspired collective growth. We truly appreciated the time, energy, and enthusiasm you poured into making this event a remarkable success. We will now break for lunch. I would like to request everyone to be back by 2:30 so we can commence with the prize distribution.
लाइट जा रहा है और दो मेरे पास पलक